Hi there, welcome back. My name is Simon and I help people, massage therapists, workout enthusiasts learn how to work with their bodies and the bodies of their clients based on the principles of tensegrity. Today, we are getting into a very exciting group of exercises that will help us activate the anterior adductors, the adductor longus, brevis, pectineus, a group of muscles that are very important in walking and day-to-day life, and in a lot of you, some of you, are very dormant. So the muscles, what they do is they have several functions, which I'm about to show you next. Okay, so you're gonna have to excuse my diaper here, but it does really help to be able to see the leg. So the muscles we're targeting pull the leg in, they bring the leg forward, and they also engage in internal rotation. Okay, so everything I just showed you was in open chain, meaning it's acting on the leg. What if my leg is planted on the ground? Well, those muscles don't just disappear. They still do jobs, but if my leg is planted on the ground, they do the same jobs, but now they act on the hip instead of the leg. So instead of bringing the leg forward, if my leg is planted, they're now going to act to bring my hip back or to anteriorly tilt my pelvis or to bring the leg back. Instead of the leg coming forward, hips go back. Same muscle. Instead of pulling the leg in, they'll pull my hip over to my leg. Instead of rotating the leg in, okay, if I turn my leg out, boom, they will rotate my hip over the leg. Leg on hip, hip on leg. Same muscle. This is the muscle that we will be targeting today and developing a mind and muscle connection with. Time for exercise number 1. Okay, for this first exercise, your leg, there's 2 positions. You're gonna be leaning back on your hands like this and totally on the ground like this. We'll start on our hands. So what I'm going to be doing is, again, looking for the muscle right on the inside, going from, it's not straight on the leg and it's not straight on the side. It's 45 degrees. 45 degrees coming up into the groin, okay? We're going to be here on our hands and knees. Now, the muscle we're going for does 2 things. It can act to lift the leg off the ground, and it can act to pull the hip toward the leg, which means lifting my right hip off the ground. So you're gonna have to find the balance between lifting the leg and the right hip will be slightly off the ground, essentially. So if you go straight from leg relaxed on the ground to up like this, and you're weak in the adductors where we're searching for, you're just going to bypass them and turn your quad on, or like a tissue right in here, right on the lateral portion that we're not going for. It's right in between those. If this is, you don't want this muscle, you don't want this muscle, which is the quad, you want this muscle. Okay, so my knee and foot are out about 45 degrees, and I'm slowly going to think about lifting my leg off the ground. I have not yet, my foot has come off the ground, but I feel my calf and my thigh still touching the ground, yet this muscle has turned on. Start there. As it gets stronger, you can think about lifting the leg up higher, but make sure you go slow and really feel it. It should feel like new tissue. If you're watching this, I may have sent it to you because it's very weak. So if it's very weak here and you know it's weak, you're looking for new tissue. Or this may just be more of an activation and it's not that weak, but you should still feel it where I'm explaining. So you need to play around with where the leg is. Sometimes it might help even to have the leg out to the side a little bit maybe, as well as the hip. The hip can be on the ground, or you may need to bring this other side of the hip off the ground a little bit. Once you've explored this area, once you find it, you just got to let it burn out. You got to let it burn out. Then it's burned out. Then you just go to the next position, which is laying on your back, and you're still looking for the same muscle. And again, you got to play with where the leg is and where this hip is to find it right on that inside there. You can sit up. I mean, once it's engaged, you can do a lot with it. But this is the first exercise. You're just building that mind-muscle connection, starting to get it to wake up. For some of you, that'll be very difficult and you'll need to spend time. On to the next exercise. For this next exercise, you're gonna be standing next to a wall. Hand goes on the wall for support. You're gonna start with your leg, either back here or here. It kind of depends. People are different. And so in general, you might find it best to start back here, but explore. I'm just giving you jump off points in all these exercises to look for engagement. We're just trying to bring an engagement to this tissue. So bring it back here. The first exercise is you're gonna slowly start bringing it forward. And you can you're exploring the functions that this muscle does. So it brings the leg forward. So can you feel it slowly just lifting this leg forward? Can you find that muscle? If you can't, you may need to, it may not be strong enough in flexion, it may be stronger in internal rotation. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn the leg out and then kind of bring it across and into internal rotation and just go back and forth like this, finding that muscle, turning it in. So here I'm doing adduction and internal rotation. That might help you find it. Or straight forward and back might help you find it. Once you find the movement that really turns it on, again, burn it out. If you feel it only like right in this position, you're just gonna hold it, squeeze it with your mind. You're just trying to fire that nerve. You're trying to wake that muscle up. Once you feel it, once it's burned out, shake it off, take a second, do the other leg, and then try this next one. For the next exercise, you'll need a band and you'll need a pole or a hook, something to attach the band to. I have a hook, putting it right there. So now I have this band here. I'm just gonna put my right leg through the hook. And now it is pulling my leg out. So a couple things I can do here. I can shift my weight to my left leg and I can just play around with turning my knee out and in, finding that muscle. I feel it right there. Finding it and then grabbing it with my mind. Boom, there it is, locking that in, locking that tension. And as your mind builds a better connection to the muscle, the range of motion you can explore before it turns off gets bigger. So this is more open chain. I'm moving the knee around a fixed hip. You can also might have much better luck closed chain where the hip is moving around the leg. So once you've played with internal rotation here, you're gonna stand with your feet wider than hip width. You can see here about how wide it is. And feet and knees will be out about 45 degrees. I like to call this cowboy stance. And you're gonna just slowly try pulling your weight from the left leg. I'm a straight line here to here, where there's a straight line here. And as you're pulling yourself this way, you're driving the right knee forward in flexion. So you are from the side. As you go from here, when you're shifted to the left leg, the right leg is straight. As you shift to the right leg, the right knee will shear forward. It will bend forward. And that's because to initiate the movement, I'm turning on that adductor muscle. Well, folks, that wraps it up. These are activations. They're not integrations. They're not exercises that will connect this area to all the other potential areas it can connect to. However, a lot of you aren't ready for that if you're watching this video. So just drill those exercises, and as you get stronger, you'll be able to feel that area in more and more motions. And as that happens, we can start adding more to it. But just cycle through those exercises. I'll see you in the next video. Keep improving your balance connectivity, resiliency, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.